Listen carefully. Power is never taken by the loud, the frantic, or the emotional. It is taken by the one who watches, waits, and moves only when the move cannot be stopped. If you want to become untouchable, you must master 3 laws. Never react, never rush, never reveal. These are not suggestions, these are weapons. The world collapses under pressure because most people broadcast their fear, their impulses, their insecurities. They speak too quickly, they show too much, they move too soon. And in doing so, they hand over their power like amateurs, but not you, not anymore. From now on, you become the man who is unreadable, unshakable, unhurried, the man whose silence creates tension, the man whose presence makes others adjust themselves. You will learn to hold your tongue when others break. You will learn to slow your pace when others sprint. You will learn to guard your intentions until no one can predict, expose, or undermine you. Comment below, I master silence and timing. Say it once, feel it, then keep listening. This is Machiavellian mode, and today, you begin your transformation into a mind the world cannot manipulate and a force the world cannot ignore. Number 1. The law of control. To build value, mystery, and power, you must first control the one thing that sabotages most men, your immediate reaction. People weaken themselves because they respond to everything, every insult, every shift in tone, every moment of pressure. They rush to explain, defend, prove, justify, and in that rush they expose the very vulnerabilities they try to hide. Power dies in urgency. Strength dies in emotional leakage. From this moment forward, you operate differently. You pause where others panic. You observe where others lash out. You let silence stretch until it becomes a weapon in your hands. The man who does not react becomes the man everyone watches. The man who does not rush becomes the man everyone waits for. And the man who does not reveal becomes the man no one can predict, control, or play. Comment below, I move with discipline. Let that phrase mark the beginning of your transformation, because real power is not in what you show, but in what you refuse to show. And the mind that can hold itself still while the world tries to provoke it is the mind that eventually dominates it. Comment again below to anchor this law into your rising identity now. Number 2, the power of slow strategy. To rise above ordinary men, you must train yourself to move slowly on the outside, even when your mind is calculating at full speed on the inside, because rushing is the enemy of precision and urgency is the enemy of control. And every time you hurry, you reveal your hand, your fear, and your lack of preparation. The man who acts too fast exposes that he is driven by pressure instead of purpose, by anxiety instead of authority, and by impulse instead of intention. But the man who slows down becomes unreadable, unpredictable, and unshakable. He turns every situation into an advantage because his pace forces the world to adjust to him. When you move slowly, people project their own fears, hopes, doubts, and fantasies onto you, creating an aura of mystery that makes you more powerful without saying a word. Slow movement is dominance disguised as calm. It is psychological warfare executed through stillness. Every great strategist, Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, Marcus Aurelius, understood that a delayed move is often deadlier than a rapid strike because it builds tension in the minds of those watching, and tension is leverage. This is the art you must master, making others wait, making others guess, making others wonder what you're thinking while you quietly calculate your next step with ruthless clarity. Comment below, my pace intimidates. Say it and feel how it shifts something inside you, because when you stop rushing, you stop bleeding energy. When you stop bleeding energy, you stop showing weakness. And when you stop showing weakness, you become someone who moves through the world like a controlled storm. Silent, slow, precise, and devastating only when necessary. Comment again to imprint this identity into your mindset. Number 3, the art of being unreadable. If you want to build true power, the kind that bends rooms and alters outcomes, you must master the art of being unreadable. Because the moment people can predict you, they can manipulate you. And the moment they can manipulate you, your power dissolves. Most men expose themselves without realizing it. Their voice rises when they're insecure, their eyes shift when they're unsure, their pace quickens when they're overwhelmed, and their emotions spill out the moment someone presses the right button. You will not live like that. You will become the man who reveals nothing, even when he feels everything. You will speak less, and when you do speak, your words will carry weight. You will move with controlled precision, making every gesture deliberate. You will master a neutral face, not cold, not angry, simply unreadable, a calm mask that allows no one to know what you're thinking, wanting, planning, or fearing. This is not about hiding weakness. This is about denying others the map they need to attack you. Remember this: people don't fear what they understand. They fear what they can't figure out. That is why mystery has more power than aggression. Mystery makes people cautious. Mystery makes people careful around you. Mystery makes people respect you without knowing why. When they cannot categorize you, they cannot predict you. When they cannot predict you, they cannot prepare for you. And when they cannot prepare for you, you always hold the advantage. Your unpredictability becomes your shield and your weapon. Your silence becomes a psychological trap. Your calmness becomes a battlefield where others panic in the presence of your composure. Comment below: "My silence is strategy." Say it because it marks the moment you stop reacting like the masses and start moving like a tactician. You are no longer the man who overshares. You are no longer the man who tries to impress. You are no longer the man who explains his every decision. From now on, your presence will speak louder than your words. Your calm will unsettle louder than your anger, and your restraint will intimidate louder than your aggression. Comment again to imprint this shift into your identity, because unreadability is not just a tactic, it is the foundation of psychological power. Number 4. The advantage of emotional stillness. Emotional stillness is the silent throne on which true power sits, because the man who can remain calm when others break, steady when others shake, and composed when others explode, becomes the one who controls the psychological temperature of every room he enters. And control is the purest form of dominance. Most men collapse under their own emotions. They react instantly, speak impulsively, expose their insecurities without realizing it, and hand away their power through anger, fear, frustration, or ego. But you are not here to be most men. You are here to become the man who feels deeply but reveals nothing, who observes everything while appearing unmoved, who allows storms to rage around him without letting a single wave disrupt his internal ocean. Emotional stillness does not mean suppressing your feelings. It means mastering them so fully that not a single person can manipulate, provoke, or destabilize your center. When someone tries to disrespect you, you don't flinch. You let their aggression expose their insecurity. When someone attempts to trigger you, you let their failure reveal your strength. When someone tries to pull a reaction from you, you give them silence, and that silence becomes a mirror reflecting their own chaos. Stillness is not passivity, it is controlled power. It forces people to adjust to your pace instead of you adjusting to theirs. It makes them wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're capable of, because a calm man is unpredictable, and unpredictability creates psychological fear. Comment below: "My calm is my weapon." And understand this deeply. The world responds to emotional instability with dominance, but it responds to emotional stability with respect. When your emotions stay still, your decisions become strategic. You think clearly. You see through deception. You recognize manipulation before it reaches you. You choose your responses instead of spilling them uncontrollably. The man who reacts emotionally loses the war before it starts. The man who remains still chooses when and how he strikes. Emotional stillness elevates you above petty conflicts and pointless battles. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't worth the oxygen. You stop defending your choices to people who never built anything themselves. You stop giving attention to situations designed to drain you. You become selective with your reactions, your words, and your presence. And in that selectivity, your power grows. Comment again: "I control my expression." Because the man who controls expression controls perception, and perception shapes how the world treats him. Your stillness becomes your aura, your shield, your quiet crown. People walk differently around a man they cannot emotionally shake. They speak more carefully. They test him less. They respect him more. Not because he demands it, but because his composure silently commands it. Emotional stillness is the foundation of psychological strength, strategic thinking, and long-term dominance. When you master it, you stop being a participant in chaos and start being the one who dictates the pace of every interaction. This is the level where you become untouchable. Number 5. The strategy of invisible intent. Real power is not built by announcing your goals, displaying your ambitions, or explaining your motives. It is built by moving with invisible intent so quietly and so strategically that no one can trace your direction, predict your next step, or interfere with your rise. And this is where most men fail. They reveal their plans too early, speak their desires too openly, and expose their weaknesses too easily, giving the world a front-row seat to their internal blueprint. You must understand, the moment someone understands what you want, they gain the power to block it, delay it, or weaponize it against you. That is why you will never again reveal your intentions prematurely. From now on, your goals live in your mind, not your mouth. Your progress moves in silence, not in public noise. People will see the results when they arrive, not the preparation behind them. Invisible intent is not secrecy for the sake of secrecy. It is strategy, protection, and power preservation. When people cannot read your next move, they cannot position themselves against it. When they cannot map your ambitions, they cannot sabotage them. When they cannot predict your timing, they cannot counter your strike. You will operate like a shadow, present, alert, calculating, but impossible to pin down. You will stop oversharing your dreams with people who haven't earned the right to hear them. You will stop explaining your boundaries to people who test them. You will stop revealing your vulnerabilities to people who haven't proven loyalty. Your silence will not be emptiness, it will be precision. Your lack of explanation will not be weakness, it will be authority. Your unpredictability will not be confusion, it will be control. Comment below, my intentions stay hidden. Because a man who reveals nothing forces others to wonder everything. They will study your tone, your timing, your silence, your reactions, yet they will find no cracks because you will give them nothing. While they waste time guessing, you will spend time preparing. While they talk, you will act. While they seek validation, you will seek advantage. Understand this deeper truth. People sabotage what they envy, interfere with what threatens them, and destroy what they cannot control. By keeping your intent invisible, you deny them all three opportunities. You rise on your terms, at your pace, with no external resistance strong enough to derail you. Your life becomes a chessboard where you see 10 moves ahead, while others barely understand the opening position. Comment again to reinforce the mindset. Invisible intent builds invincible power, because the man who keeps his direction hidden becomes the man who cannot be stopped. Number 6. The power of calculated distance. Power does not belong to the man who is constantly available, endlessly responsive, or emotionally accessible on demand. It belongs to the man who understands the cold, strategic, psychological force of calculated distance. Because distance is not avoidance. It is leverage. It is elevation. It is the silent manipulation of perception. And it is the one discipline that instantly separates a powerful man from the reactive masses. When you make yourself less available, people begin to wonder. When you stop responding instantly, people start evaluating their approach. When you disappear from certain rooms, people adjust their behavior in those rooms. When you create space, you force others to feel the gravity of your absence. And in that vacuum, your value begins to expand. Most men ruin their power by being too present, too accessible, too eager to respond, too quick to give explanations, too willing to justify themselves, and too afraid to step back because they think distance equals weakness. But distance is the very thing that sharpens your presence, intensifies your aura, and multiplies your psychological influence. You must understand, closeness reveals flaws, distance reveals worth. The more someone is around you, the more they normalize your energy. The more they see your availability, the more they assume it. The more you respond instantly, the more they conclude they control your time. That ends now. From this moment forward, you become a man who chooses when, where, and how he is accessed. You slow your responses, not out of pettiness, but out of self-respect. You create pauses, not out of insecurity, but out of strategy. You pull back from people who drain you, not because you fear conflict, but because you refuse to negotiate your peace. Distance becomes the gatekeeper of your mind, your emotions, your time, and your energy. Comment below. I choose distance with purpose. Because every man who has mastered silence, timing, and controlled withdrawal has risen above those who depend on emotional immediacy. Distance is the filter that reveals who values you and who only valued your accessibility. When you give people space, they show their true intentions. Some grow resentful because they lost the ability to control you. Some grow desperate because they relied on your availability. Some grow respectful because they recognize your worth. And some simply fade away because they were never meant to be in your life beyond the convenience you provided. And you need to see all of it. A man who never steps back never sees clearly. A man who is always involved loses sight of the bigger picture. A man who cannot detach becomes a slave to the emotions, expectations, and manipulation of others. Calculated distance is your armor, your clarity, and your advantage. It prevents emotional hijacking. It forces others to question themselves before they question you. It resets the balance in relationships where you gave too much. It creates space for people to correct their tone, their behavior, their assumptions, and their attitude toward you. It teaches them that your presence is not a guarantee, it is a privilege. But calculated distance isn't only a weapon against others, it is a weapon for yourself. When you pull back, you create space for introspection, strength building, emotional recalibration, and strategic thinking. Proximity fogs your mind. Distance sharpens your perception. When you step away from a situation, you see the lies you missed, the patterns you ignored, the manipulation you tolerated, and the truths you denied. You see people's real motives because people reveal themselves when they cannot reach you. You discover how much energy you were giving to the wrong people, the wrong environments, and the wrong conflicts, and you reclaim that energy. Distance allows you to return to your center, your discipline, your power. It reminds you that you are not here to be consumed. You are here to build, rise, and dominate your own path. Comment again. Distance reveals truth. Because truth becomes visible only when emotional noise fades. When you create distance from people, you stop being hypnotized by their charm, their pressure, their tactics, or their emotional intensity. You begin to see who respects your boundaries and who only respected your availability. You begin to identify who truly values you and who merely values what they get from you. And this clarity is priceless. Calculated distance also elevates your presence. When you show up rarely, your appearance carries weight. When you speak less, your words become heavier. When you're not always around, people start to take note of every detail. Your silence, your tone, your timing, your posture. They analyze your behavior more deeply because your behavior is no longer routine. It's meaningful. In a world where everyone broadcasts themselves constantly, the man who chooses silence becomes a mystery. And mystery is power. Mystery triggers curiosity, curiosity triggers attention, and attention triggers psychological control. People chase what they do not fully understand. They respect what they cannot easily access. They talk about what they cannot predict. Distance makes you the conversation even when you're not in the room. It is the foundation of your aura, the invisible pressure people feel when your name enters their mind. But here is the deeper truth. Distance forces self-improvement. When you detach from noise, you have no choice but to confront your own weaknesses, your habits, your fears, your ambition, and your standards. You start to build yourself without external validation. You start to grow for yourself rather than for the approval of others. This is where the real transformation begins. You become self-sufficient emotionally. You become self-directed mentally. You become self-governed spiritually. You begin to think independently, move strategically, and act deliberately. Calculated distance gives birth to discipline. Discipline gives birth to strength. Strength gives birth to power, and power gives birth to an identity that cannot be shaken by the opinions or actions of others. Comment again. My distance builds my value. Because value increases when scarcity increases. Your presence becomes a luxury, not a routine. Your attention becomes selective, not automatic. Your time becomes intentional, not impulsive. And people adjust. They become more respectful, more careful, more deliberate, because they understand that losing access to you means losing something meaningful. Calculated distance also protects your long-term goals. When you're too close to distractions, you lose focus. When you're too close to emotional storms, you lose direction. When you're too close to low-value people, you lose identity. Distance creates corridors of clarity where you can think, plan, build, and grow without interference. It allows you to make moves that are not visible to those who would sabotage them. It allows you to rise silently, reposition yourself, and return stronger, sharper, and more commanding. Distance is not running away, it is moving upward. And upward movement always requires leaving certain environments, certain people, and certain mindsets behind. The man who fears distance fears growth, but the man who masters distance masters his destiny. Comment one final time. Distance is my power. Because when you control the distance, you control the dynamic. When you control the dynamic, you control the narrative. When you control the narrative, you control the outcome. And a man who controls outcomes is a man the world must respect. Number 7. The shadow advantage. How to move without being seen. Power becomes unstoppable when your movements become invisible, your intentions become unreadable, and your presence becomes something people feel but cannot fully grasp. And this is where the strategy of the shadow begins, the strategy that elevates you from being merely strong to being untouchable. Most men crave visibility. They want to be noticed, praised, acknowledged, validated. They broadcast their goals, their struggles, their plans, their emotions, their victories, their anger, their fears, thinking that attention equals power. But attention without control is a trap, and visibility without strategy is vulnerability. True power belongs to the man who moves quietly, thinks deeply, and acts surgically. The man who is always present, yet never predictable, always watching, yet never watched, always aware, yet never exposed. You must become that man. To survive in a world built on manipulation, competition, ego, and constant psychological warfare, you must learn to operate in the shadows, not as a coward, but as a strategist, not as someone hiding, but as someone preparing, calculating, and positioning himself where no one can strike effectively. When you move like a shadow, people cannot track your steps. When they cannot track your steps, they cannot block your path. When they cannot block your path, you advance without resistance. This is the advantage that destroys rivals before they even know they've entered a game they have already lost. Moving in the shadows does not mean isolating yourself. It means choosing what to reveal and what to conceal with ruthless precision. You share only what strengthens your position. You reveal only what reinforces your value. You expose only what you can afford to lose. Everything else stays hidden behind your calm eyes and controlled posture. People will mistake your silence for softness, your calmness for passivity, your distance for uncertainty. But you will let them, because misreading you is part of your strategy. A misinformed opponent is a defeated opponent, and a person who misunderstands your mindset cannot interfere with your path. Comment below, I move like a shadow. Because your power grows the moment you stop seeking recognition and start seeking advantage. The shadow strategy works because it protects you on multiple levels, emotionally, mentally, socially, strategically. Emotionally, It prevents others from weaponizing your feelings. Mentally, it keeps your intentions clean and undiluted. Socially, it keeps your circle tight and your influence strong. Strategically, it denies enemies the intel they need to make effective moves. A visible target is easy to hit. An invisible force is impossible to strike. Your silence becomes a fog that confuses your opponents. Your unpredictability becomes a wall they cannot climb. Your minimal reactions become psychological pressure that eats away at their confidence. People fear what they cannot categorize, and your shadow-like presence will constantly disrupt their ability to read you, predict you, or judge you. This fear becomes fuel for your influence. The less they understand you, the more they respect you. The less they can predict you, the more they watch you. The more they watch you, the more advantage you gain. Moving as a shadow also forces you to grow internally. When you stop performing for attention, you start building competence. When you stop explaining yourself, you start sharpening yourself. When you stop trying to prove your worth, you start embodying it. The shadow makes you stronger because it forces your power to become internal rather than external. Anyone can look powerful online, in public, or in front of a crowd, but only a disciplined mind can remain powerful in silence, in solitude, and in secrecy. Quiet power is the hardest to build and the hardest to break. Shadows do not brag. Shadows do not announce. Shadows do not compete loudly. They simply appear where needed, strike with precision, and disappear before anyone realizes what happened. You become the man whose moves are felt but never seen, the man who wins without noise, the man who grows without applause, the man who transforms without permission. You must detach from the need to be understood. You must detach from the need to be seen. You must detach from the need to prove anything. Once you do, you enter the realm of psychological sovereignty, the place where no one's opinion can sway you, no one's reaction can shake you, and no one's ego can bait you into emotional exposure. You observe everything, yet reveal nothing. You anticipate everything, yet announce nothing. You feel everything, yet express nothing, unless it is strategically useful. Comment again. My silence is my strength. Because a silent man is a dangerous man, a calm man is an unpredictable man, and a shadowed man is an unstoppable man. In the shadows, you cultivate skills while others seek validation. You gather information while others broadcast weakness. You strengthen your mind while others exhaust theirs. You rise quietly while others distract themselves loudly. That is why the shadow advantage creates kings, while attention addiction creates slaves. You will choose to be a king. You will choose to move in silence. You will choose to rise without noise, because the loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest, but the quietest man in the room is usually the one everyone secretly watches, fears, and respects. And that is who you are becoming now. Number 8. The Iron Mind. How to become unprovocable, unbreakable, and unmoved by anyone. Power reaches its highest form when your mind becomes iron, when nothing rattles you, nothing provokes you, nothing derails your focus, and nothing pulls you into emotional chaos. Most men crumble because their mind is soft, reactive, and easily influenced by pressure, opinions, or sudden changes in their environment. They get triggered by insults, destabilized by uncertainty, intimidated by dominance, weakened by validation seeking, and manipulated by those who understand their emotional buttons better than they do. But your rise requires something far greater than ordinary discipline. You must build a mind that does not bend under tension, does not break under fear, and does not explode under disrespect. You must become the man who moves with unshakable inner gravity, a man who cannot be pulled, pushed, provoked, or played. This is the Iron Mind, and it is the foundation of every powerful man who ever shaped history, strategy, nations, or human behavior. The Iron Mind does not speak first. It does not react first. It does not assume first. It waits, observes, calculates, and then strikes if necessary. and only if it increases advantage. The iron mind does not rely on validation, applause, praise, or approval. It is fueled by internal clarity, internal confidence, and internal certainty. When you become unprovocable, people lose their ability to control you. When you become unbreakable, situations lose their ability to destabilize you. When you become unmoved, the world loses its ability to pull you out of your center. To get there, you must unlearn every impulsive instinct you were conditioned to follow. The instinct to defend yourself instantly, the instinct to prove your worth, the instinct to respond to disrespect emotionally, the instinct to show anger because you're hurt, the instinct to rush because you're afraid of losing, the instinct to reveal your intentions because you want reassurance. All of these impulses are the cracks through which your power leaks, and all of them must be sealed. The iron mind is built by replacing emotional impulse with strategic intention in every situation you face. When someone disrespects you, you don't react. You analyze. When someone tries to intimidate you, you don't shrink. You observe. When someone tries to manipulate you, you don't confront. You detach. When someone tries to provoke you, you don't explode. You remain still. Because nothing is more terrifying to a provocateur than a man who doesn't flinch. Comment below, I cannot be provoked. Because provocation is a trap disguised as a challenge, and the weak fall into it every time. Your silence will make people question themselves. Your composure will make people doubt their position. Your lack of reaction will make people reveal more than they intended. The iron mind turns every conflict into an opportunity for psychological advantage. Because while others bleed energy through their emotions, you accumulate power through your restraint. A man who cannot control his reactions will always lose to a man who can. Emotional men break under pressure. Iron-minded men sharpen under pressure. Emotional men need attention. Iron-minded men need clarity. Emotional men depend on external stability. Iron-minded men generate internal stability. And in a chaotic world, stability is dominance. But make no mistake, building an iron mind requires self-confrontation. You must face your insecurities directly. You must face your triggers honestly. You must face your fears without disguises. You must face your ego without excuses. The stronger your mind becomes, the harder it becomes for anyone to control you, because manipulation requires emotional openings. When you close those openings, you become psychologically sovereign. The iron mind doesn't deny emotion, it masters it. You will still feel anger, but it will not control you. You will still feel fear, but it will not direct you. You will still feel pressure, but it will not distort your judgment. You will still feel desire, but it will not make you reckless. The highest level of strength is emotional mastery, not emotional suppression. Mastery means you decide when emotion is useful, when it is destructive, and when it must be replaced with pure logic. The iron mind is slow to anger, but swift to act. Slow to speak, but sharp in execution. Slow to reveal, but precise in intention. Slow to trust, but fast to cut off threats. A man with an iron mind moves as if he knows something others don't, because he does. He knows what he thinks, feels, wants, and chooses, and none of it is up for negotiation. This terrifies people, because most individuals rely on emotional leverage to gain influence, and when you cannot be influenced emotionally, they lose their power instantly. Comment again. My mind is iron, and understand this truth. An unprovocable man is not peaceful. He is dangerous. Because if provocation cannot move him, fear cannot stop him, and ego cannot blind him, then nothing can break his internal command. The iron mind is the end of manipulation, the end of emotional weakness, the end of psychological exposure, and the beginning of a version of you that watches the world burn before he loses control. You become the storm inside the silence, the force inside the calm, the authority inside the stillness. This is the man people follow, fear and respect. This is the man who wins without noise. This is the man who rises without chaos. And this is the man you are becoming now. Number 9. The value of scarce presence. Power intensifies when your presence becomes scarce, intentional, and impossible to take for granted, because the world is conditioned to devalue whatever is too available and worship whatever is rare, controlled, and difficult to access. Most men sabotage themselves by offering their time too freely, their attention too quickly, their energy too openly, and their presence too constantly. They are everywhere, responding to everyone, involved in everything, and drained by anything. They think constant presence creates connection, but in reality, constant presence kills respect. Scarcity creates elevation, and elevation creates authority. You must train yourself to become a man whose presence means something, a man who doesn't show up everywhere, a man who doesn't react to everything, a man who doesn't allow the world easy access to him. When you reduce availability, you increase value. When you step back, people lean forward. When you become less visible, people look for you. This is the psychology kings have used for centuries: appear rarely but powerfully, speak infrequently but meaningfully, act sparsely but decisively. You must understand that people cannot value what they can constantly touch, call, or distract. They value what is controlled. They value what is disciplined. They value what is limited. This is why your presence must become an event, not a routine. Let your silence linger. Let your absence echo. Let your distance create curiosity. Let your unpredictability create tension. When people are unsure of when you'll appear or how you'll respond, they approach you with caution, respect, and heightened awareness. And that awareness is leverage. Psychological leverage that shifts power toward you without effort. Scarcity also protects you. It shields your energy from unnecessary drains. It prevents others from getting too comfortable with your strength. It breaks patterns that people rely on to manipulate you. And it forces you to choose where your attention goes instead of letting others choose for you. The man who gives his presence to everyone becomes owned by everyone. The man who gives his presence selectively becomes valued by everyone. Comment below: my presence is earned. Because you are no longer the man who shows up on demand. You are the man who shows up with purpose. You are not the man who reacts to every message. You are the man who chooses when to engage. You are not the man who offers constant attention. You are the man whose attention has weight, and that weight shifts the dynamic of every interaction. People will begin to study their approach with you. They will adjust their tone, filter their words, and measure their behavior because your scarcity tells them that they do not have unlimited attempts, unlimited access, or unlimited chances. This forces them to treat you with more respect than they treat the average man who is always available, always talking, always giving, always present. Scarce presence is not withdrawal. It is discipline. It is choosing impact over noise. It is choosing quality over quantity. It is choosing strategy over impulse. And most importantly, it is choosing self-respect over desperation. When your presence becomes rare, your silence becomes louder, your actions become heavier, and your aura becomes stronger. People will notice even the smallest shift in your behavior because every shift carries meaning. Even when you say nothing, you communicate everything. Comment again to reinforce the mindset. My scarcity creates power. Because your presence, when controlled and deliberate, becomes a psychological currency that elevates you above the reactive, the impulsive, and the predictable. You stop living as an option. You become the standard. Number 10. The law of controlled expression. Power solidifies when you master the ability to control not just your emotions, but the expression of those emotions, your tone, your words, your timing, your reactions, your posture, because people judge you not by what you feel, but by what you show. Most men leak their inner world through nervous habits, rushed explanations, emotional outbursts, unnecessary details, or poorly timed responses. Every reveal becomes an advantage for someone else to use against them. But you are no longer that man. You are becoming the one who expresses only what strengthens him and suppresses everything that gives others insight into his vulnerabilities. Controlled expression does not mean being robotic. It means being strategically selective. It means you understand that every word you speak either raises or lowers your power, that every reaction either exposes you or elevates you. When someone disrespects you, your calm will unsettle them more than your anger. When someone tries to provoke you, your stillness will frustrate their attempts. When someone tries to pull emotion out of you, your neutrality will rob them of control. You will become the man who speaks slowly, thinks clearly, listens deeply, and reveals nothing impulsively. Comment below. I speak with precision, because precision is the language of power. The less you express unnecessarily, the more impactful your necessary expressions become. People will begin to dissect your silence, analyze your pauses, and interpret your calm, because they will learn that you never express without intention. Your controlled expression also wins in conflicts. You never argue emotionally, you state facts. You never defend impulsively. You choose your angle. You never reveal your full stance. You let others reveal theirs first. This forces people to show their cards while you keep yours hidden. It places you in the position of psychological high ground, where you dictate the energy of the interaction. Controlled expression also protects relationships. It prevents you from saying things you'll regret, reacting out of insecurity, or exposing wounds to people who may someday use them against you. You become emotionally sovereign, intellectually disciplined, and socially unpredictable. Comment again. My expression is power. Because when you choose your tone, choose your timing, and choose your reactions, you choose your outcomes. Your control becomes your armor. Your restraint becomes your advantage. Your silence becomes your strategy. And that is the mindset that transforms you into a man the world cannot manipulate, decode, or dominate.